Okay, I'm starting the recording right now. It's about 7 minutes before this thing gets off the ground. But I wanted to make sure that I caught, all the fun gathering sort of stuff that happens usually. I only have one person right now that's in. Well, he's sort of in. Josh, I've seen, when you come back and watch this later, I've seen your frozen picture for an hour now. But I still miss you, buddy. Let's find out what the weather's going to be for posterity. Scattered thunderstorms at 11 o'clock tonight. But listen, there's only a 55% chance, so I'm not sure about that. Oh, but there's a 60% chance at 1 a.m. So there you go. Let's see what else is coming up. I know I'm not supposed to touch my face, but I haven't gone anywhere today. I took a shower this morning. Is that how that works? There's Cindy. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yep.
Okay. Can you see me?
I can see you. You're beautiful.
Are you seeing my whole face or like partial? It's hard to tell.
I am seeing your whole face.
Okay.
And yeah, and here too.
From here up. Okay. I didn't know how much. Once I was on one of these and I was like my forehead. I was and other people were just half face. So I've never known how to do it.
That's funny.
So I just figured just ask from the get-go.
Right. So I turned on the recording just a few minutes before so that I could make sure that I got everybody's kind of entering and everything. So
yeah,
sometimes that's the fun part about going into a party, right?
Yeah.
When everybody enters, everybody goes, Norm.
Uh-huh. It's that first initial awkwardness, and then you're like, oh, everybody's here and everybody's awkward. Good.
Right. My Moira Gale, you were here and and she helped me set it up. And I was telling her, I'm like, I never know where to look. Drives me nuts.
I figure, because you're kind of conscious you're up there. And I think our brain tricks us that if we're not talking to ourselves, making eye contact, that's going to look weird. But I think if I just look at you, right? We're eye level right now, just looking at each other like that.
It looks right. Yes.
Okay.
It looks like you're looking deep into my eyes, Cindy.
I want to get into your soul. Right. So this is just like a check-in with people and just kind of maybe introducing the thought that they could use this time for something a little deeper.
Yeah, and I figure we'll give them a few minutes to get in.
Yeah,
like 3 minutes till right now. I figured we'd kind of officially started about 5 after-ish.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And
I can sit here and watch my silly kitty on the sofa, like doing everything to get my attention, to get me from not doing this to come over there and rub her belly.
Because why are you looking at this thing, Mom? You must be paying attention to me.
Hilarious.
I am the cat.
Yes. So how was your day?
It was good. I went for a walk, and after we got everything set up this afternoon, went for a walk, and kiddos made sushi and nigiri.
And I made cookies.
And Moira Gale made cookies, chocolate chip.
Like 50.
Well, that is survival gear.
Right?
Chocolate.
I
could live without the sushi.
I am a little embarrassed to say that I may have eaten like 4 cookies. Just one right after the other.
They go down so easy.
Yeah. Especially these, man. They were thick.
Yeah. Girl after my own heart there.
Loaded the chocolate in.
Oh, well, is there any other way?
Right? I'm going to bump on here on the Facebook thing and see if anybody has.
The Book of Faces.
Right.
Josh is frozen.
Josh is frozen. He came on at 7 right after we posted
Oh, gosh.
the comment, and he put himself up there, and then he froze it and walked away.
Yeah, I've seen that before too, where someone's picture was frozen during the whole meeting. And we thought, well, maybe they're hearing us.
I hope. You never know.
Nope.
He's not rude. He's just doing stuff. How was your day?
Good. Let's see, what did I do? I walked to the sofa. I sat down, I walked to the kitchen and made tea, and then I walked all the way back to the sofa.
That is a
Hey,
Hey, Josh.
He's back.
You made it back.
yeah.
Cool.
He's in.
I'm pretty sure it said I was here the whole time, but
It did. Your handsome face was frozen there, and I couldn't get any response out of you, which is
I didn't know.
not normal.
I'm looking at two extroverts here, aren't I?
nah, I waver.
I waver. I'm both. Depends on the situation.
It's a scale, right? It's a scale.
And thus
Yes.
almost everything in life.
We're going to give folks about 5 minutes to walk in. I may have done a foolish thing, and I said unmute everybody upon entry.
You said what?
I had the option to mute everybody as they entered the
Right.
but I didn't.
Oh, that's okay.
There was another ding. What was that ding?
Probably someone trying to.
Well, I see you have your daughter there to tell you how the technology works.
Hey.
Hey, I just came in here, man.
She's
Just
gonna
just delivering cookies.
Just sitting here for a minute.
She's gonna let me look good because she had
I just
actually
need some social interaction.
right. She had set it up a long time ago. So so how was rehearsal today, Josh?
That's good.
Yeah.
It was like this. This platform, this app works real well. It picks up on you when you're making a noise. Of course, then you can switch it and see everyone on there at the same time.
Right. I see all three of our faces, and that's fun.
I do that.
Oh, cool.
There's the one where it switches back and forth, and it just whatever sound it picks up, it puts them on. Then there's the one with all three.
Yeah.
See, I'm not seeing three at all. I just see Tammy, and then I saw Josh full screen. You're
Yeah.
horizontal.
Up to the left, I believe.
You can do that too, Mama.
I can.
You can.
Oh, yeah, there's the speaker view. So
And then there's gallery view.
so you can't on this laptop, Cindy, it was like up on the right-hand corner. There was like a little drop-down menu that says speaker view or gallery view.
Uh-huh.
Gallery view is what will allow you
don't-
to see everybody's face at the same time.
I don't see any of that, though. I mean, I'll just see one at a time, I guess. But
Oh, well,
I'm not worried about it.
On
okay.
the iPhone, you can just swipe to the right or left on your screen.
What?
Hmm?
On her iPhone, if she's on an iPhone, she should be able to just swipe to the right or left on the screen.
Swipe right or left on the screen.
It says Cindy's iPhone.
Okay.
And there's your beautiful face again.
Well, I swipe. What does it do this way? Oh,
Yeah.
swipe.
If you go all the way to the right, it just puts you on kind of mute. So you can
Yeah.
swipe away and just kind of go to the bathroom or something.
Oh,
Yeah, I learned
so
all this earlier.
should we just leave it this way? I mean, will this start to get smaller squares as people show up?
Whatever you see. No, more people will show up. It'll add more pages. You can swipe to the right
Okay.
or left.
Okay, because when I've done this on a laptop with Zoom meetings, it was the whole laptop was just all these squares of maybe 12 people.
It must be how
Like a
your
gallery.
device.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How big your device works.
I'm happy either way.
Right? No, you can't sing in the background. I love your singing, but
She could get on there with her phone if she wanted to.
she could go to her room and get on with her phone and make it look like there's more people here.
Take up space for other people who need to talk.
Oh, did you hear that? That was so
What'd you say?
sweet. She didn't want to take up space for people on the Zoom meeting who might want to get in and talk.
Oh,
Gosh, settle that down.
What did you do?
Oh, can you
Who gave
see
you that
faces I'm making?
Cindy, so
but
Josh is my usual co-host when I do the podcast.
I saw that once. Yes.
So he's like part of the family now. So Myra just threw a ketchup packet at him because apparently that's what you do in families.
He's like a brother to me, man.
You know,
I have ketchup packets of a brother.
yeah, you do.
It's mostly cans, though. They're empty cans.
Well, let's see. It's 8:05. Let me double check. So there they are in that. That's nothing. That's a different thing.
But they can access this afterwards, right? And listen at their leisure.
They sure
Watch
can.
at their leisure.
Because
Okay.
I turned on the recording thing.
Yep, I see that. Okay.
So we've been recording this whole time
Okay.
because that's fun. That's fun. So I'm gonna leave my phone there so that I can.
Do you want me to leave?
No, you don't have to leave. You can get on your phone if you want
I
because
don't want to
obviously
take people's
Okay,
space.
that's fine. That's fine with me. Okay, so let's just get started then. And if people
Sure.
come in, then they'll come in and they'll join and they can go back and watch the,
They get caught up.
they can get caught up afterwards in posterity. What are you doing?
If you're starting now.
We are starting. You don't have to leave.
Okay.
Either way.
Wait for a couple more minutes.
Okay, just when you do leave.
Be
Wait.
quiet.
Yeah. Thanks. I am a 2-week-old noob at Zoom meetings. So usually Josh is sitting next to me, like right there.
Hi, Sue. Hi. I'm
She
Josh.
should be 6 feet away from you.
What?
She should be 6 feet away from you.
We've been living in the same house. If we're getting the coronavirus, we're both getting it.
Probably.
I'm 6 feet away from my phone,
right.
just in case.
I know. All right, so what do I need to say first? I wanted to come on and I wanted to improvisation is the key tenet of improv is this yes and sort of thing where you're accepting what's given to you and you're building off of it. Josh says no, he's shaking his head.
I don't accept that.
Right. So I do want to throw in a little caveat, though. I always like to tell people in real life, it's not that you are agreeing with what you're being given. that's not the acceptance that I'm talking about. It's just acknowledging the fact that you've been given something and you have to build off of it. So we find ourselves in this position right now to where we're all kind of shut into our houses, and we've been given this pretty bum deal right now where we're socially distant from one another to protect everybody. And that's not something that we have to like, but it is something that we have to build off of. Huh?
What if it is something that we like?
Do you like it, Josh?
I don't get to. I go to work every day.
You do. You're a pharmacy tech.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Not great.
Do you still run into crabby people, or even more crabby people?
Yes, more crabby people, and then they want us to do more stuff now, like take it to them, like take it from the pharmacy and take it to them. And we're like, no, we don't want to go to people. This is not the time to go to people.
Right.
That's what they want, because they don't want sick people walking through the halls.
Yeah. So you work in a hospital, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you still can't go. You still shouldn't be walking to them.
You shouldn't be around them if they're having to wear a mask or sick.
Right.
Shouldn't have to walk up to them and have them sign a thing when you're supposed to be staying 6 feet away from each other.
Right. Right.
They've got it to where now we take the medicine to a room and leave it in that room, and then the nurses take them out of there.
Okay. So
it only took them weeks to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do want to, just a real quick caveat for all the people that come in and watch it after we've taped it and recorded it and put it out.
I don't like all these caveats.
I'm sorry, Josh.
I don't like caveats. The last time I had a caveat, I had to go to the dentist.
I think of caveat as a very fashionable hat with a feather. My caveat. I don't know why that image just came to me. I thought I'd share.
I was gonna say,
is that your last remaining roll of paper towels?
It's the good stuff.
Are you taunting us who don't have paper towels?
Stop, Moira. Not my fault. She did it, not me.
Listen, man.
But I did want to say that we didn't want to come on and do this with any sort of statement that we could fix the situation, we could fix what you're going through, or we could, we're not licensed in clinical psychology or anything like that. We just care. We just care, and we want to, create a place where we could witness each other's what we're going through and what we want to be on the other side of this. So
maybe introduce how to reframe it a little bit.
Right. Cindy Stewart is my wonderful friend, radiant, gracious, beautiful person who is a massage therapist and a Reiki consultant. Did I say that right, Reiki? Reiki, sorry.
A Reiki practitioner.
Yes, that.
Yes. Energy worker is fine.
And a life coach. And I've just always thought she was incredibly grounded and joyful spirit to be around. So I wanted to welcome her on and just kind of share her with the world.
You're sweet. Well, a lot of it was hard won over the years. I've reinvented myself a few times. A divorce will do that to you. 10 years ago, last month. So, and we all have our days too, where I need somebody to speak the truth to me. I need somebody to help ground me, so I have nothing figured out totally in life, but I do have things that work, tools and ways to come back to yourself. And I'm looking at this whole pandemic as something that seemed inevitable to happen to our world. I think we all had a sense something was coming. We've all lived on edge for a few years now or more. And there was something in the air that something was coming. There was just an unsettled, the divisiveness, everything that happened. And I found this to be a great leveler for everybody because we're all experiencing the same things. And so it has leveled society pretty quickly. So I just look at what is the deeper meaning in things that happen. There's always a deeper meaning, and how do we choose to use it for ourselves? And go ahead.
A lot of that is true, that people are realizing things they should have realized a long time ago, like how unprepared they were for something like this. Like, people are losing their heads because they were just not prepared for this.
Mm-hmm.
And day by day, they're making it up. And you want to talk about improv? Everyone had a crash course on improv in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When they shouldn't. They should have the answers and someone telling them, hey, this is what we're supposed to do in these situations. And that's not what's happening.
Right. There's so many levels to this. We're not physically prepared. We're not emotionally prepared.
Do you think we could ever be emotionally prepared?
I think we can shore ourselves up,
right,
to be prepared for the next thing. However you do that, for me, it's multi-level. It's physical, mental, spiritual, to bring those components in. I like looking at this time about, we're not going to go back to business as usual. That's the thing. We can't go back to business as usual. And there's so many levels. It's not, you want to look at everything that's been wrong. The inequality, the divisiveness, the corporations owning everything, how we're living our lives. This is a great reset period. This is a great recalibration to really ask ourselves, how do we want to show up after COVID-19? We're going to have before COVID-19, and then we're going to have after. And this is not going to leave any of us where it found us. So I think there's some great lessons to be learned and some great self-inquiry to do. And I just like to support people in, first of all, their panic stage and getting them feeling less panic, getting them back in their body, getting them to look at what they can master that's in front of them at the moment. Like you said, you don't have to like what's happening to you.
right.
This is what we're dealt. We don't have to like it, but there's great value in accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm accepting that this is how things are. Because when you're fighting against it and resisting against it, it's going to keep coming at you.
Yeah.
So we take a deep breath. We don't have to like any of this, but here we are. So now what do we do?
You said you like to help people get back in their body, and I really can appreciate that, because I feel like, I was going along, my jaunty little pace, and some things I'm pretty good about just shoving into the back of my head and unpacking them at night when, I'm about to go to bed or something like that, and just to set them aside for the day or whatever. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, but now for some reason in this environment, I feel right across here. I feel this in my body, this thing is being turned in, and all of a sudden right here, it's constant. I think it's stress. I really do.
Is it a constriction? Does it
It's
feel
like,
tight? Mm-hmm. We're all in disaster mind right now.
right.
Disaster mind.
But that's what, I wouldn't have, maybe wouldn't have stopped to think about it before. And now I've got nothing to do but stop and think about it.
This is the thing that I find of value right now. If you're brave enough and can sit with this and ask the questions and sit with it, because we've been such a distracted society, and now here we are. We're forced to look at some things, and it's very, very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And if you're isolated by yourself, my heart goes out to you so much. I've shared before that we've been living in the age of loneliness is a term that was coined. And we're all trying, for being so connected, people were very disconnected. And now this even more, now you're isolated. Oh my God, what do I do now? And I'm alone. And these thoughts are coming and these fears. And so this is a time to really look at, that's why I'm saying we're not going to be the same before and then after.
Yeah.
So
just to catch up, at the top of this, I said, it's been 2 weeks experience that I've had with Zoom. How long have you guys been familiar with this technology that creates this togetherness that we've got right now?
About today.
What do you say?
Today. This is the first time I've used this. Oh, this is the second time I've used this because we did it earlier today.
Yeah. I've been in on Zoom. I've done it a couple years off and on, and it was usually to come into a group meeting of a group I was a part of, or to touch base with a mentor who was, checking with all of us. Just to have a group thing, it's mostly largely women's groups that I've been involved in and facilitated or had a workshop with, and it's been a way to touch base in between those workshops.
So you're ahead of the curve on us, Cindy.
Well, not really. I got a new computer in January, and I was used to the way my old one did things, and I'm kind of learning again. But thank goodness that we have this, though, right now, right? I mean, I feel the internet's so overloaded right now. It's been wonky here and there, and it's just even more so. There's such a use with it right now. But to see each other's faces, I mean, thank God we have this. Seriously. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the digital age, and this is the first time I've ever really felt this way.
Yes. Josh can bear witness to me on this. I detest social media a little bit more every day. I love being social, but
Yeah.
Being social. That's so weird. Social media is your way to reach people.
what? Yes, well, to reach people, yes.
Like
Yeah.
The proper use of it, a judicious use of social media is very good.
Yeah.
But if we use it as the distraction, if we use it to judge everybody and then turn and look at Instagram and then judge ourselves and hate our lives, that's the illness of it, but sure, it's an incredible tool to be used for good.
Yeah. Do you think when we come out the other side of this, do you think people will have reinvented themselves enough to where this has become a standard thing for more than just your women's circle or business meetings or that sort of thing?
I hope so, and to some degree. I think a lot of people are going to go back to their old ways too. There's going to be that. It's how much you really feel the impact of what we're living through. If you're feeling the impact of it, and it's your your motivation to change, then you'll have a different relationship with it. on the other side of this. Then you'll have a different relationship with the people in your world and in your life and that you love, and with yourself, hopefully, and it will be business as usual for many after this is over. It's going to be just a big party. It's going to be, how much can we go out and party now? And yeah, so we're going to see the pendulum is just swinging wildly right now, and it is a very interesting time. I'm very grateful to be going through this time, though. I'm very thankful that I'm alive during this time, to feel all these things and to reassess my own life. It's a very rich time if it's used.
Yeah. If it's used, being the, yeah. So my daughter said the other day, she felt it was exciting at first to be a part of this, what was going on right now, this time in the world, to be a part of this. But now she's just kind of scared. Mm-hmm. And she's processing through it, and she's getting past it and everything, which is what I think, we're all doing, maybe on a daily basis,
Yeah.
Figuring out the whole thing all over again every day, hopefully every other day, or, the time period gets a little bit longer and we get a little bit better and more, I don't know, grounded or something.
Yeah. So many things have crumbled around us, the things that once seemed steady and sure, whether it was your work or whether it was, for some people like myself, I knew, like on Friday, I went out and had fancy coffee with a couple people, and that was like a little anchor in the week and a little thing and something I counted on, and there was no reason why it would stop, and then it has. That's a small example, but a lot of things have crumbled around us that we felt safe in. Mm-hmm. The false pretense of safety, that we place our trust in. And now that's all gone. And that's the frightening part of it. So, for me, it's like, what do? All of that outward stuff, let it go. And what do I have inside? Developing the inside, shifting from fear, shifting to a love consciousness, shifting from disaster mind and shifting into possibility. They're just helpful little mindsets and perceptions that you can change that help you feel less of a victim of this and more as a participant. And, I'd go so far as you can choose to be a healer during this time. Mm-hmm. And how you talk to yourself, your self-talk, and how we are reaching out kinder and gentler to people. And we're very quickly wanting people to know how much we love them. And, where did that all go before? It was in the background of the distractions that were in front of us. And now the distractions are gone. And so it's a very good thing on so many levels.
Yeah. I'm starting to see more and more of the pleas on Facebook to, put a bear on your front porch, or put a rainbow in your window, or on the sidewalk, mm-hmm. or, there's now an Easter egg hunt, that people are asking you to put Easter eggs in your windows or whatever. Yep. So that the kids who are walking by have something to look for, mm-hmm. scavenger hunt sort of a deal. So, but those are things that we could have been doing all along. Mm-hmm. But now we have a purpose for doing it.
Gotten creative, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, people have taken a lot of that stuff for granted. Just, normal stuff that they could be just connecting with a person, like going to a coffee place. You can't, like she was saying, it was just little stuff that you thought you could always do, like go into a place and eat.
Yeah.
And now all that stopped, and now everyone's kind of realizing they have to change up their game a little. And and it's going both ways. It is being better, but it's also being worse for some people because
Oh yeah.
they're not doing the thing and staying in, and so those people are getting told like it is. They're doing the dumb things, and then people are straight up telling them you're not supposed to be doing this
Hmm.
because they won't listen. So you have to kind of treat them like a kid, and maybe that's what people need sometimes. I had to yell at people at my work the other day because they were getting angry at each other and yelling, and I was like, hey, we're not going to do this. Like, I talked to them like they were kids. We are not going to do this.
Good for you.
And made them wait quiet. It was weird. Like, what? I've never had to do that in my life.
I don't think it was wrong, though. I think it was great.
Yeah, you
Need it. I don't, I don't do like that unless we need to do it. And it was to stop a fight between two people that didn't need to be fighting in a hospital. And it's ridiculous. But
yeah.
it's just things like that are getting to be the way it is now. And it's going to be several weeks getting through this of that. So people are going to start getting rough.
A lot of craziness out there and tensions. There were before, right? There were before. And now the tensions are over basic necessities, My friend, witnessed two women fighting over, one woman was filling her cart with all the packs of toilet paper because her excuse was, I'm going to take them to family members, and the limit was 2. And whether that was true or not, the other one was, they were ready to take each other out. She said, I just backed away thinking, but the thing is, they really weren't upset about the toilet paper. The toilet paper wasn't what was making them upset. Underneath was the sense of, oh my God, normalcy is leaving me. I can't even get toilet paper. And then the disaster mind took over and started playing out the scenarios. And that's what everyone's dealing with. They're not really upset about the thing, the toilet paper, the lack of things in the store, or even being inside your home. A home should be a haven, and we should love being there. It should be the center of our life where we recharge, and then we go out into the world. Now we're forced inward. So all of that is really, really tense for people right now. And we can just try to be as calm as possible. We can try to be as perceptive as possible when we see these things happening. We can speak gentler. We can speak softer. You sometimes have to raise your voice to people. You have to, snap them back. But there's a big call for more love right now.
Not even having to raise your voice. It's having to remind them to do the same. Like, you have to be curt and tell them to be nice because
Listen, I'm going to yell at you, but you need to be nice right now.
It's like, we're going to be nice right now. Everybody is tense. We're not going to add to this tension. We're just going to take a big breath right now, and we're going to step back. Just take a big breath, just tell them to put a period there for a minute, and just stop.
Put a pin in it.
Not a good time to tell people to be breathing deep. So.
What'd you say?
So it's not a good time to tell people to be breathing deep, though. I mean,
take a shallow breath.
You're right about that. And it's also wrong to be joking about it's a horrible thing once people get it. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
People think it's like the flu, and it is not. It is so very not.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now that people are home and all they can do is consume media and things like that, now they're starting to learn things. Like, how many people didn't know how to wash their hands before?
Right.
I mean, there are a lot of people that just didn't get how doing it correctly worked.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put up a video today, and they put ink on their hands, and they did the motions like it shows you how to wash your hands step by step. You could see where the ink wasn't getting on the hands until they did those motions. So soap doesn't work like that until you do it like that. So it's like you didn't realize when you couldn't see it what you weren't doing right.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that will carry forward from this.
Yeah. 24 years ago, almost 25 years ago, my twins were born 6.5 weeks early. And so they were in the NICU for a couple of weeks. And anytime you have anybody in the ICU or the NICU, you get a lot of training really fast on how to wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
They won't let you in unless they are watching you out there in the ante room, sort of washing your hands appropriately. And they take you with a scrub brush and show you how to get underneath your nails and washing in between your fingers and your thumbs and all the way up, you know? And you talk about something not leaving you, you know, that's one of those habits that you just, you know, if little bitty babies are dependent on that, it sticks. And I'm hoping that that's the kind of reinvention that we come across after this, you know, that people get good at washing their hands.
There's going to be a big distrust too, you know, are things safe? Like when we are all freed, when we can all go back out and live our lives, there's going to be that period of, is this safe to do? I mean, I'm a massage therapist. Thursday before last at 5 p.m., my job came to an end. And, you know, I work with yoga instructors and different people. They moved everything online within 48 hours. Well, you can't do that with massage, you know. I mean, I was in this career that's like, we're not supposed to shake hands and you're supposed to come into this room and take your clothes off and lay on a table and be, you know. So for me, how I recoup with that, you know, if we opened tomorrow and they said everything was sanitized and clean and this thing was gone, you know, I'm going to have to watch my job's going to have to build up again, you know.
Mm-hmm. You think people are going to take a while before they settle into the safety?
Perhaps, you know, and there's also the thought that they're going to be so desperately in need of body work and coming for the stress relief that they'll be lining up at the door. So it could go either way.
Well,
and I'm prepared for either way for it to go.
Yeah. I have last fall, up until the cold weather set in, I was pretty good about going out for a walk every day. And then the winter weather hit and my walk sort of petered out. But I've been picking up those walks again. And I kind of, you know, I am forced into this mindset of, I'm going to do this for myself. I don't do a whole lot for myself, just for myself, you know. Being a mom, I just kind of do things for the household and I do things for my kids and I do things for other people. And that's fine. That's a good thing. There's a lot of us that are like that. But it brought to mind that I need to really pay attention and make sure that I'm doing things for me too. Mm-hmm. So I've been going out for these walks and I find that I'm hearing more of what's going on around me as I'm walking. I'm tuning in to the sounds a lot more. I'm tuning into what I'm seeing a lot more. And not only that I'm witness to it, but that I'm letting it do something to me. I'm letting it impact me so that it makes me smile. It soothes me. It makes me breathe a little deeper and that sort of thing. Whereas before, I might have just walked down the street just in order to get to point B. You know, I have a place that I'm going. That's my goal. I'm going to get there.
Mhm.
I've always kind of said it's all about the journey and the process, and now I kind of have to prove it.
That's one way for you to be in your body, though.
Right.
You know, you're being in your body and you're walking and you're noticing. You know, I spent a long time on Facebook taking a picture every day with the hashtag noticing happy, or notice happy, sorry. And it was just those things that you can stop and look at. You know, it stops me in my tracks if I see a crack in the sidewalk and there's a little flower growing through it.
Mhm.
It's like I have to stop and appreciate that, you know. Things like that to really appreciate, because we're stripped of so much right now. Hopefully we can start looking at the things that are so important around us that we have. Taking your walks and enjoying the fresh air. I mean, I through my neighborhood drove the other day and 2 days ago, and everybody that was outside their house waved at me. They
Yes.
didn't know me. They waved at me.
Yes.
And it felt like small, like you could hashtag that Mayberry, you know. I mean, everybody just was like, hi, how you doing? And I'm thinking, I don't want to go back to the way things were. Please keep this going. Please keep this momentum going of your neighbor and hello. And, you know,
Yeah.
and I noticed that and I was like, that's beautiful.
And more people just sitting out in their front yard. I
Oh
don't
my gosh.
Tammy, did
sit
you
out in my
not
front yard.
put up a story, Tammy, about your neighbor and you talking to them recently?
What?
Did you not, Tammy, just have something, a post where you were talking about a neighbor that you had just recently started talking to?
Right. So when I moved into this apartment or house, it's not an apartment, I rent a house. 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. It's been a long time. She was the only one that came over, and she delivered a little rose bush and a little pot that she had bought at like Kroger. And she's like, welcome to the neighborhood, which was really nice. Super sweet. And I got her name then, but I have the hardest time remembering names sometimes, and she never came back. You know, I would see her when she was going out to her car, or she would see me when I was going out to mine, and we might say hi, how you doing, or whatever. But didn't really share anything, you know, as neighbors. About a year ago, was in Panera's, and I just went in to spend some time that I had. And about 45 minutes in, I'm looking at this person across the floor, and she looked so familiar, and I'm like, do I know this person? Is that? No. Yeah, I think that's my neighbor. And it took me about 5 minutes, and I watched to make sure that, you know, she was done with any of her phone conversations or, you know, before she got ready to leave and that sort of thing. And I walked over to her and I asked her very, very awkwardly, you know, are you my neighbor? And she was, and I don't, she was a little taken aback, because how many times do you have somebody walk up to you and go, are you my neighbor? But to her credit, she handled it really well and invited me to sit down, and we sat and we talked for like 45 minutes and exchanged phone numbers so that we could text if we needed one another. And so now here we are. And our level of need has ratcheted up just ever so slightly. You know, she's got her own support network, and I've got my own support network, but we live next door to each other, you know? Yeah. And if you can, she leaned out her window yesterday when we got back from the grocery store, picking up the few essentials we thought we might be able to get. and she asked how I was doing. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good right now. Got out and mowed the grass yesterday, and I thought to mow your front yard, but then I thought, well, maybe, you know, you need the physical exertion, so I didn't do that. And she's like, would you mind? I can pay you. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Yes, I will cut your front yard. And it's those kinds of things. You just, I don't know why, and honestly, I don't know that I would get all up in my neighbor's business anyway on a regular basis. Wave at you across the street and I'll stop and say hi and everything like that. And I have invited her over for, you know, celebrations and stuff, but she's never come. So maybe that's, you know, an opportunity to build something a little bit better there, you know.
We've lost something so essential, you know. Where did we lose the neighborliness? You know, I mean, if you distill it down, we are all wrapped up in our lives, you know. We leave, we're rushing to work. We come home, we're just so glad to get home and get in the garage or go in the front door. And, you know, there we are. And I have felt that too. I mean, I've lived in this house 5 years, and I don't know everybody on my block, but I know them better now.
Yeah.
And it made me sad there for a little while to think that I'd gotten caught up in that too, my little world, you know. So now that our world is a little more equal right now with what we're going through, you know, this is something I hope that sticks.
Yeah, not to be sad about it, but to go, by golly, I'm gonna fix this for me. I'm gonna be the start of something right here for me. And if somebody else changes, that would be great. I would love to have friends who change too, so that when I'm sitting out on my front porch, because I haven't done that. That's not a usual thing for me, but if I do it, I would love to have people who I'm seeing in my neighborhoods sitting out on their front porch too.
Yeah.
Waving from across the street. I don't need in-depth conversation necessarily, you know, because we're all 6 foot apart. We can't get into in-depth conversation. But you know, a hello from across the street. And I've seen so many more people out.
Yeah. Kids on bikes. I'm hearing kids outside in their yards, you know, families of kids that, like, there's a house out behind me that for the last 3 days, the kids have been on the trampoline and in their yard, and they're never like that. You know, they're inside with school and homework and their games and their stuff and their phone, you know?
Yeah.
And now mom and dad are like, please get out of the house, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever happened to that? You know? So
I don't know. I'm 49 years old. And I remember when we spent evenings on the front porch and playing kickball in the side yard with all the neighborhood kids and seeing kids all up and down. Josh, did you have that in your neighborhood growing up?
No.
So you're 39, right?
38.
38. Sorry.
But no, it's not. I didn't have like groups of kids in my neighborhood. I had one person in my neighborhood that I actually still know today, but it wasn't like groups like that. Our groups were more disconnected and distanced. Like we'd have to go to meet each other and then at places and stuff. And then in the neighborhood, I was like latchkey kid. So basically I'd come home and watch TV until someone got there. It's like I don't know, my generation's kind of raised by TV and whatnot. And
Mhm.
there's still I didn't know the neighbors growing up. My parents may have. I don't know my neighbors now. I know of them. I see them. I say hi, but I don't. But like when you asked earlier if I was introvert or extrovert type deal, it's like I can be extroverted, but once you get through days of this stuff being hard out there and come home, you don't want to do anything. And then on the opposite end, all these people that are at home want to get out and do everything.
Yeah. I think that that's a big thing. You know, you were saying earlier that we're so busy, you know.
Mhm.
Um, whether you're busy out at a job, work, or at school, or you're busy at home doing the things that have to, you know, run the home or whatever, wherever you're busy at, everybody is so blasted busy. And we can't do that right now. A lot of us, you know, a lot of us are at home, you
And
know.
I hope when we go back out to our jobs and our lives that we can temper some of the busyness down
Yeah. Because
because it's not healthy.
right. And that's I think what Josh was saying, you know, um it whether or not it's healthy, it's kind of what happens. And like I remember having the twins were like, you know, 6, 7, 8, however old they were, and their dad was working out of the house. He had come home. They're instantly on him, you know, asking him how his day was, blah, 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 blah. Daddy, do this for me, do that for me. And it has taken until right now for me to realize that kind of immediate sort of rush is going from one rushed thing to having somebody else rush at you, you know. So it's just as much allowing for that space for everybody, maybe, to kind of breathe a little bit instead of being right up here on each other, going from busy, 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 busy to busy, 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 and just that sort of collision course sort of thing. Yeah.
True.
And
Yeah. I mean, that,
a lot of times when people do clash, like at home or yell at each other for something stupid, it is nothing more than those busy times running into each other. It's like I came from this and I am angry about that over there, and then something at home happens, and then you snap at each other, and then you're like, oh, that was stupid. Why did? And then, but now I don't know. Maybe we'll learn from this, is what we're saying. And see, I even when I'm not busy, I'm busy. Does that make sense?
Explain.
Like if I'm off, I I hardly sit around and watch TV or do something anymore. I'll find something to do. I'll go and I'll make something, or I'll go to a dance class. Now I can't do any of that now.
Mhm.
And so like my downtime is cleaning now. I I don't know. I have to find something to do. Like
if you
this,
truly
this is
enjoy it, do you truly enjoy those things?
yeah, some of those things that I can do, yes. But when it's down to like you can't do these things and now you don't have any options to go out and do these things, I don't know. But I got a little ADD going on, so I'm never happy with the thing I'm doing until I'm doing it anymore. You know, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, but
No, it does. It does. I mean, we're all so busy. That's been like the disease of society right now. There's this toxic busyness, busy and fulfilled and doing things that are productive and your purpose. That's good busy.
I think a
But
lot of
some,
what that is too, you get out there, and then you have your stuff that you have to do, and then once you get off of that, you kind of switch over, but you only have so much time to yourself. So you try to pack it all in and do what you want to do before you have to go back and do that thing you have to do again. And sometimes they run into each other, and it's one of the things that keep people like up at night. Like they keep on trying to cram so much in, and then they stay up too late, and then they oversleep on the other end, and it just kind of pushes on to where maybe you have to stay later on the other end at the job because you came in late, and then that kind of pushes your other. It's just a weird cycle of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Josh, do you think you can be too busy?
Yeah, I've been told to stop. My mother tells me to stop doing things.
Just double checking with you.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but also it's hard to. It's a habit. It's hard to break it. It's hard to make yourself go to sleep and stop doing a thing that you want to do. If I'm in the middle of drawing and I like to do that, I have to stop so I can go to work. A thing I don't want to do.
Mhm.
And
And maybe unfortunately for you, you're in the healthcare industry right now, so you don't even get to process this forced shutdown sort of a deal right now.
maybe we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
It depends.
Are they talking about reducing the numbers of people in your office?
No, but we just might all get sick,
Right.
and one of us just give it to the other, and that's what's happening. We're doubling down on work, and then people are not being there because they're sick.
Mm-hmm.
So we're shorthanded, and we're added more stuff to do, and that's every healthcare, all of healthcare right now. And we don't have the proper keep us safe things like masks and gloves.
Mm. Is there anything that I could help you with, Josh? Is there anything that you need from me?
No, actually, you could make me a mask, but
I could.
that's not true. We, as our department, we have enough masks going around at the moment because it it's not like we're needing them a lot. We're like essential people, but we're also not the most essential people. We're not nurses and doctors. We're there, and we have patients, but it is not the same. But it is more than we are used to handling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is weird because you would think we have a mail to your house option, but people are hard headed and they will come in and pick up things from the pharmacy, and we tell them you are putting yourself at risk, and they just it's one of those things where it's like, no, I've always done this and this should be fine. It really isn't right now.
Yeah. Oh, I know. My 76-year-old vet dad insists on going to, his doctor's appointments and everything. And I'm like, Dad, you need to call ahead and you need to talk to your doctor and see if you have to go in for this. And he does that whole stubborn thing where it's like, I've always done this. I'm going to go in and do this. We don't stop. And I'm like,
We're not scared of the doctor. We're not scared of the hospital. You should be. Where all the sick people are.
right. So I touched base with him the other day and I'm like, okay, so you did go to your doctor's appointments. What was that wait time like? Were there a lot of people waiting around you? And from what I'm understanding, there's not. They're keeping what patients do have to go in, they're keeping them outside waiting in their cars or, on benches or something so that they can socially distance outside. And then they're bringing them in one at a time and that sort of thing. So thank goodness that the doctors are able to do that still yet.
My friend's a vet, and her friends are in the healthcare field, and she said they have they have like a gag order type thing where they cannot post on social media or put out there how bad it is. The lack of supplies does that really, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have that with pharmacy, or maybe it's just confined with the hospitals?
All I know of my job that we are not supposed to say is like details about people's information. I've never been told that you're not allowed to say
with HIPAA.
This is how bad it is. That's a little.
That's what was shared. That's what was shared.
We are
and
also
very good.
one of these people at the bottom of the. Well, we're one of these people that are at the bottom of the food chain at a hospital. It's like they don't think about us. So that might be a thing that has been said to a person, and then they don't think about us. So they just don't tell us that thing. I'm not saying that couldn't be a thing. It very well could be.
Yeah. I think it was just them sharing anything that cast a light on a certain hospital or something, that they were not allowed to do that. Their job was at risk. But
in a lot of articles you read from like health coworkers and doctors are them saying straight up, like telling the story of how they don't have the right equipment and their employers not doing anything about it. And they're not shutting up because there's so much of it. So
yeah.
There's some shady stuff going around. And all of it that's another thing. All of this is coming to light because you can't play with this.
Right.
These are the things that make you feel helpless, how to help this situation. It's wrong. And how do we help these people? There's just so much. How do we help the people in the healthcare field? How do we help the people that are sick? How do we help the people that are financially terrified right now? There's just so many levels to this.
And there is levels of, here's the thing, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this or not. No one's told me not to. The antibiotic and the main drugs that are used for coronavirus, we have now moved to the secure location where all the controlled drugs are. Like it is under lock and key and counted. And the only reason to have something like that under lock and key and count it is to make sure none of your employees steal it.
Yeah.
So that's just a straight slap in the face to you as an employee. Like, okay, sure, whatever.
Sure.
And in the long run, it doesn't do anything except for that, because it's like you're going to have as much as you can get from the supplier, and that's all you can have.
Yeah.
Do you have some type of, without being personal or anything, do you have any type of personal faith or anything that you do that you rely upon to get your head straight and your heart straight? Something that you can spend some time in the morning before you start your day with to just get centered?
Oh, Cindy, you don't know my friend Josh very well. My friend Josh does art post-its at his job, probably in his downtime, we're going to say. And they are so inspirational and uplifting and just cute little things.
Good.
Because I started like on a break, what am I going to do? I'm going to, because I could get on social media, but everyone's at home. I know what everyone's doing. It's not, and all the news media is the same. So I
There's no
take a,
fear of missing out, is there, Josh?
say what?
There's no fear of missing out right now.
No, that's a thing on social media. I guess is the fear of missing out. What you're, I I do those things. I make those just little doodles at work, and no one. And that's when I do have time because some lately we're not even having our breaks correctly. But what are you going to do? That's something we work through as healthcare. We know the rules. We know we're all supposed to get these things and breaks and have a certain amount of time for lunch, but and they tell you you have to, but sometimes you take it upon yourself to end things at certain times so you can get back and someone else can do the thing. It's weird how we at work have to pull together to take care of each other because like the system is just being pushed.
Yeah.
And most of these post-its that I make, people at work started taking them, like they claim them.
Because they're amazing.
So, and then like, then I have to make certain ones for certain people. I'm like, okay, that's fine. and that is fine because that's what it's for. It's like you want. I always, I put them up at the front window so when someone's being mean to you, you can see a goofy picture that's sitting there, and hopefully, you can't be mad when that's looking at you.
That sounds like a calling for you. It sounds like a natural talent you have. And a necessary one. A necessary one, I like the story once someone told me. They said, just be the apple tree. An apple tree grows the apples, and sometimes, birds come and peck them, or they fall to the ground and they rot, or someone comes along and picks a basket, makes an apple pie. You can't control what's going to happen with your apples. Just be the apple tree.
Nice.
Just give your apples.
Yeah.
You're just giving your apples, and they may not mean something to someone now, but maybe they will down the road.
I do love that analogy. So much better than my ball growing one.
Just be the apple tree. You just grow your apples and you give them.
What's
You're
yours?
unattached to what people do with them. But you know what? They're all going to nurture something. The pie's going to fill somebody's belly, or the rotting ones on the ground are going to be food for the insects or the birds, or it's going to turn into mulch and nourishment for the earth. I mean, it doesn't go to waste. Just give your apples. Just keep giving your apples, regardless of what anyone thinks of them.
I'm curious, Josh, has anybody given anything to you, or do you see something that somebody else is doing in your workplace that's helping your coworkers?
I mean, how do you mean besides just working harder and taking care of each other and things like that, making up things that make things easier? Outside of work, that's the weird thing that I do because I'm just like that. So but people are taking care of each other and doing things for each other. So I can't say they're doing any kind of weird thing like I am, but
you're not doing
and
something.
half of that. Say what?
It's not weird.
Half of that's for me to keep to keep my head straight, and then like once I make those, they go wherever. They really do. I don't pay attention to what happens to them because it's like I move on to the next one because it is literally making the apples that keeps me from being bothered.
Yeah.
And you never know what one of those little post-its could mean to somebody just in that moment. I mean, we can't ever underestimate. We all have such natural gifts. We've lost our jobs right now, but what other gifts do we have that we can give? That's abundant.
I saw on your page the other day, Cindy, where you were making more little bird seed feeders.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was sweet because you had
Yeah.
them left over and you had the time to do it. So.
I did. I made them at Christmas in a birdseed mixture that you put into a mold and it dries overnight, and then you decorate them. Or at Christmas, I had cinnamon sticks and dried oranges, and I made them as part of my gift baskets that I make every year. And I thought, well, the birds got to eat, and the branches outside off my deck are still kind of bare right now. So I thought I will put some of those on. And I dropped a couple off to a neighbor. I just left them on the porch. I just said, if I had extras, thought you might like this. And, that's something I hadn't done in a while. So that's how I was giving, But we have such amazing gifts, and if we could reframe the loss of income right now, that's not true abundance. There's money and abundance, but there's so many things that make us rich and abundant is your Post-it notes and the things you give and reaching out to somebody. Those are our gifts and our apples. Just give them, and it's amazing. So many people have thought that the smallest little idea or something they did turned into a whole different career or a whole different direction, or they met the love of their life, or they met a different group of people through this little thing they were doing that they didn't think was so much. And we need all of that right now. We need people in every way to give the things that they have.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
I am hopeful that people aren't, but I know that it's happening. People aren't feeling that as pressure. There's so much that needs to be done, can be done. And to feel the pressure of, well, what can I do? What I can do isn't good enough, or I need to be doing something else. And they internalize it and feel it as a pressure that sticks them into place, instead of driving them to try something. I'm not sure if there's a way to get people out of that. I think it's kind of one of those things that have to come from inside, that motivation.
And encouragement, human encouragement to each other. A lot of us, we have it within us, but we need somebody to speak it to us sometimes. To tell somebody you have a gift, or this is amazing what you do. Oh, that's not so much. Yes, it is. Do it. Yeah. I appreciate it. Human contact and encouragement. Left to our own devices, we will just talk bad to ourselves.
Right. Yeah. I think so. It's too easy to do that. It's too easy to talk bad to yourself.
Yeah. That's why it's so important. These things we're hearing, we're going to get through this. We're all in this together. We've heard that repeatedly over and over and over. And it's true, though, to keep saying it. We're going to get through this. You're out of money now and it won't be forever. Do you have a roof over your head? Yes. Do you have food? Yes. We've quickly in the news forgotten about all the refugees and the people that were fleeing dire, terrible circumstances and that are at the border now. We're just not hearing about it on the news right now. That's still going on. But you look at our lives and many of us are isolating in a very privileged way. This is not so hard. The homes we're in, and we have food and we have toilet paper, and that's a lot.
Right.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Perspective right now is really important for people to have.
The difference between possibility and probability was another thing, that has been running through my mind lately. We've got a very real possibility that you might run into somebody that's sick, and you might catch this thing. But if you stay at home and you stay 6 feet away from people, your probability is less to some degree. So I think that's for me anyway. It has been a help to calm the panic that occasionally happens. Yes, it's possible, but is it? But where are you at on the probability scale? There are a lot of situations, a lot of places that I could have to be that would make the probability a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody else that has to do that. And just sending out a whole lot of good thoughts for those people that have to do that.
Yeah. I'm a big believer. I go out and I ground every day in my backyard with my bare feet into the earth, and I have practices that connect me to the earth and energy and the love in my heart for people. And I don't underestimate that doing these practices every day are going to help lift the whole vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can lift my own vibration in the morning, then I'm extending that when I go out.
Right. You're like an amplifier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have had more time to do it now being home. I don't have to get up at 6:30, 6 or 6:30. And there's more of an ease, and I've been able to expand on a lot of that. And I mean, I feel it. I can energetically feel what goes out from me into the world. And I do believe that someone somewhere calling out for help or wishing that it meets up somehow. It's just something I believe has to be true, and that we can each do that. Whatever it is, meditation or prayer, whatever you do to center yourself, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it and extend it. And visualize this thing being healed and people coming out better. And because the other option is to just sit and be scared and angry.
Right. And go to a pharmacy and yell at other people waiting in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Or grocery, for that matter.
I have not run across any
Toilet paper?
toilet paper, passionately angry or vocal people in the grocery yet. And I've counted myself lucky for that one.
I have not either, but a lot of that gets on TV anyways, and that's where you see it. And it's the one or two times that it does happen that it gets on TV, so
Mm-hmm.
that's all you see, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's happening. Though you have seen a lot more people in the grocery than you had before, right? Before, at first, people panicking.
Yeah. I saw cartloads of frozen dinners and stuff like that.
My son said he saw that, but I haven't seen that myself. And I don't know whether it's just because I don't really pay attention to other people's buggies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I ran into Kroger 3 days ago, and the store was just so emptied out, so emptied out.
When I go in, I think I see the same number basically of shoppers that I've always seen, but people are very careful to stay away from each other, And I have been too, I drive my buggy along and I'm going to go down the aisle and there's somebody with a mask. I think I will go this way, go down this other aisle.
There's that moment when you turn down the aisle because you know that you're not getting 6 feet across with the aisle and 2 carts, and you're like, they're coming, they're not stopping. And you're inching over to the side, and they're, and then what I do, this thing is when I pass them, I just stop breathing. Just hold my breath.
And you look away.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, get my breath, hold it, look at the other side, go by.
Yeah, I do make it a point though to smile at them and meet and make eye contact before
Yes.
I turn my face.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's the nod. You can do the eye contact and yep, we know right now we're close. We're gonna just go by. Gosh, I heard now on the news they're going to install plexiglass at the grocery stores, at the checkouts, between you and the cashier.
There are people still going to the cashiers?
No, I mean the checker, the one that's checking out your groceries. So
yeah, I've just been doing the self-checkout, man.
Oh, no, they're still going for the line.
You mean the self-checkout where everyone goes through and touches?
Right, that one, yeah. Listen.
It's the same either way, man. You got the
agree.
same.
I agree.
Just wash your hands.
Yes. Wash your hands. Wash your hands.
Yeah, I have hand sanitizer in the car, so I use it before I go in the store. They have some at the checkout, and then I use, and
I've seen one thing I have seen is a lot of businesses actually having a person out there wiping down carts.
Yeah. Kroger was doing that. And then this little girl, she was like, "Those are clean."
But then again, I don't know how well this person has wiped down this cart, being that they've had this job for a week.
I watched this one girl being very thorough with her big spray bottle and then her disposables and her gloves, and she was being very thorough, and it's like she really wanted people to see she was being thorough for them. And I thanked her. I said, "Thank you for being here. Keep yourself safe." And she says, "I've got to keep working." She's not there because she wants to be. She don't want to be doing this, but she's really extending herself. And I just said, "I appreciate you so much." And she said, "Thank you." That's another thing we can do is just, I appreciate you so much. This is such an awful time, but thank you for showing up.
Be a decent person to others.
Be a decent person.
Be nice.
Be appreciative.
That's a new thing we do, right?
For everything.
I hope it's not new for long. I hope it just continues and becomes the new norm.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean, Josh. You
do.
Quizzical look. I sat through an improv as therapy session on Zoom the other day, and they were talking about storytelling and the stories that we tell ourselves and how she uses that in the counseling and everything. And she's used it in this situation too. The stories that we're telling ourselves they're going to become the thing that cycles through our mind and how we remember this and everything. And if you can just get from the beginning of the story to what it's supposed to end up being, and this is how we got there. This is the end of the story, until that is the new norm. We want this to happen, and your main character goes to this, and this happens to them, and this happens to them, until finally, and we get this great climactic thing that changes, that is the goal end of the story. And it's, that has happened, So I think the point was these things that we tell ourselves in our mind over and over and over again, especially in times like this, where it's, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What could happen? What might happen? Those are the things that gets us through day to day. And there's going to be a new norm at the end. There's going to be something at the end of the story to be an example of what we've come through
Yeah.
and a new norm. We're writing our own story right now to get to a new normal. And hopefully that new normal will be something where we're a lot nicer to the checkout lady and the people stocking the shelves and the people behind the pharmacy counters and the people that are hugging us with love and you know.
You know, I find it comforting that there has never been a plague that didn't finally get overwhelmed with health. And there's never been a flood that hasn't receded. And there's never been a storm that hasn't stilled. There's never been an earthquake that hasn't stopped. You know, there's these things. We've come through a lot. We've come through an awful lot. And we are amazingly resilient, and we're made to be resilient. And the earth is made to be resilient. And the earth, she holds so much and has taken so much abuse, you know, but we'll recover. I saw an interesting picture, you know, the Amazon was burning. We heard about that for a hot minute in the news. And then it's like the Amazon was burning and the lungs of the world. And if you look at the human lungs on an X-ray and you look at a tree, you know, it looks alike. It looks the same. And now, you know, this illness is burning our lungs. It's just, the correlation there is stunning to me. But still has the ability to regenerate. You know, the fires in Australia, there's pictures of this green and life coming back. You know, I lived out west when Yellowstone was on fire back in 1990, 91, and how it regenerated. And so we have that ability. We will go on and things will regenerate, you know. But how are the human beings going to be? Are we going to repeat things again to create another crisis down the road? So cannot be business as usual.
Right.
You know, we all have a
No,
part in.
this will have a 9/11-esque outcome. Like, we'll start preparing for the next time this happens, hoping that it does not happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it'll be something else. But you know,
Well,
that's how it goes.
Big wake up call, you know, big wake up call. When a lot of the safety nets and things that were disbanded, you know, by this administration, and I'm not going to get into politics, but you know what I'm saying, things that just were done away with, and things that need to be back in place. And yes, I hope so. You know, we have to learn to be ready for the next big illness, and we have to learn to be ready for when the country loses their job, and a system that can, the safety nets and the cushions in place.
It is heartening to see, though, that you know, that eventually they're doing things that up until this point they haven't wanted to do. The politicians have been at loggerheads with each other, but now they're going, okay, we need to do this for at least the immediate issue. We need to provide money for people or financial support and that sort of thing. I don't know how quickly it's going to happen, you know.
The stimulus money, are you talking about
Right.
that? Yeah. I think
they're
by
trying to
1st
do
of
stuff
May,
with that too. So
I think by the 1st of May,
Yeah.
like 3 to 4 weeks with checks and things, but
Yeah. It's something.
you're right, but there's still, and that's a little political too, is people are still trying to sneak their own things into something that needs to happen, and then they're just being called out on it now. So there's a lot that is a thing of just dumb stuff being called out, and it is moving a lot quicker than it would in the past.
Right.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
me, I like to find the good stuff.
Yeah, positive thinking's great. I'm a positive person, but the analogy is you can't clean a house if you don't see the dirt.
Mhm.
You can't clean a house if you can't see the dirt. So, calling these things out and looking at it and saying, this is really bad, Mhm.
See, that's usually our dynamic between Tammy and I, because I will see the dirt and you can be positive about it being cleaned up. Is that not correct?
That's correct. That's pretty much the way it goes.
Yeah.
I think that we need, and I think we need everybody in this. I think we need both kinds of people
Oh, yeah.
to make it all work.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
So we've been on here. It's 9:30 now.
Hour and a half.
An hour and a half. Is there one
I'm
more
counting.
thing that you all want to say? And then I have one thing that we can kind of do together to end out the Zoom meeting, taped version, whatever.
No, I'm intrigued by what you have there. What are you talking about?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see. Cindy.
What's my parting thought here? My parting.
Sure.
Over.
Go ahead.
No, that's the thing. Go ahead, because we've said so many different, yes, the same thing, but different things. I don't know how to have a parting thought,
My parting thought is I'm grateful to both of you and for your input and your perspectives. And you've opened my eyes a little more, Josh, just with what you're dealing with, in the pharmacy. We're kind of not thinking about you all, we're thinking of the sick in the hospitals and but just how far reaching this is. So thank you for that. It gives me something more to embrace when I do my thing, when I do my woo-woo and send all that out. You'll be included, and your coworkers, for what that's worth. I'll just parting thought is that I'm going to use this time to work on myself and practice better self-care and decide what I want to let go of in my life that's not really serving me. I want to let go some of the busyness in directions that I've just got locked into that are not serving me anymore. And I just really be kind. We don't know what we're all going through. We don't know what anyone's going through. When I see somebody acting badly in public, I say a silent thank you, because that's my practice, because that gives me something to practice on. I can silently bless them and release them instead of cussing them out in my head or thinking jerk or this or that or someone who cuts me off in traffic. It's just thank you. I can hone my craft here a little bit. I can hone how I think. So I'm grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for the hardships right now. And I'm just going to embrace everybody with love. And I'm going to give where I can with money, time, physical. There's other things going on right now with some things with the schools and lunches and getting meals to kids, wherever your passion feels, whether it's hunger or whatever it is, do something with immense love. It's all the little things. Mother Teresa said it was the little things, not great big things we need to focus on. It's the small things with love. So that's all I got there.
Wonderful. Josh, did you come up with anything?
Well, I'm glad that we're able to have discussions like this here, because we can't get together. And there's sometimes I will go over Tammy's and there'll be a back and forth. We'll have a discussion like this, but I really can't do that right now, because it's like there is the probability and possibility chance, like you say, I could be at work and not be around a person, but then someone that is around a person that is a patient can carry it to me, and it takes like a couple weeks to show up. And that's the thing. I can't carry it to my parents. I can't take
Mhm.
it out, and I'm at risk being in the hospital. And that doesn't mean, there's just good hygiene practices that will just stop that risk, but it's there. So it's weird for me, and I'm like kind of worried. Like, do I need to be around people, even though I'm fine? The point is not to be around other people for them. So
Yeah. And I want to echo Cindy too. I just really glad to see your all's faces right now and to
yeah,
share this time, even if we have to share it through technology, because the extrovert in me has been just really kind of screaming out, needing to not just take in information. That's all I've been. I'm on input overload with all of the stuff that I'm getting, and I've been, really mindful of the content that I've taken in, but I'm still taking in massively more amounts of content right now than I was before. And without having a way to get that out, I'm just sort of spinning wheels. So I really appreciate you guys having been here and spent this hour and a half with me. And yeah, just really
I don't mind doing this again if you want to do it in a week. If you want to have a weekly check-in. I mean, we're going to have the time.
cool. We might just do that. I will. Yeah. I don't mind doing that at all. That sounds great. Maybe we can get more people coming in.
Yeah.
And build it up. Or maybe not. It doesn't really matter to me as long as I get somebody there.
We're just gonna give the apples, remember?
That's right. We're just
gonna give apples.
all of my apples. I have a big bushel basket full of apples. All right. One more thing. So
we'll let you have your positive moments and not start in on you, because unless you missed that whole thing where I make fun of you, Tammy.
Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
No, that was about it. I didn't have anything.
So one thing that we did in rehearsals sometimes, and there's a picture that I like to put out every once in a while. It's just sort of a getting you back into your own sort of body sort of thing. So there's a few steps that you can take where you're breathing in deeply. So Josh, can you do this with us over there? Breathe in nice and deep through your nose.
Well, I'm going to have to rearrange and actually get up to.
And slower breathing out through your mouth. And drop your shoulders. Make sure they're dropped. And release the tongue off of the roof of your mouth. Make sure that that's not up there, because we tend to hold things in odd spots when we get stressed. And then if your eyes are open, just let them go soft and your soft focus, so that you're not taking in anything in particular. You're just taking in everything that's around you. And one more breath. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank you.
I'm going to end it now, and then I will post a link to the recorded information as soon as I figure out how to do that.
All right.
Good luck
Have
with
a
that.
good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.